Subdividing properties in the inner west is an increasing trend. Depending on what area in what suburb you are, the size limits will vary quite a bit. You need to check with council as to deciding what you can do. Some properties will actually build what we call like a hammerhead, a property at the rear of another one, but the property has to be wide enough for a driveway. This property that we're standing in at Gladstone Road, Mile End, has rear lane access, and look, subject to council consent obviously, you could possibly put another property at the back which would have laneway access.
So I think the process for, the potential for subdivision like you've got here in Gladstone Road, Mile End, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. I think the first step is to have a really clear vision of what you want to do with the property, whether it's an extensive renovation or whether it's actually subdividing the land, building a new property, or just selling off the block. Let's have a clear idea of what we're looking for there. Then once we've got that picture in our minds, well, let's go and look for professionals. Professionals are going to help us realise that vision, whether it's speaking to an architect or someone else in the building trade, but also your local real estate agent can advise there as well.
If there's a zoning change in a suburb, which means that properties can now be subdivided, whereas previously they couldn't, you'll always find a spike in property prices. And the reason for that is a 700 square metre allotment is worth more as two 350 square metre allotments. As with anything in life, the smaller the quantity you purchase, the premium you pay per square metre for property, for example, and the bigger the quantity, as like a bulk buyer, if you were to buy the 700 square metre allotment, the cheaper you pay per square metres. So you will find a spike, of course, in property prices.
Obviously, the more properties that actually do this in the area, because there are still quite a few big properties around here, the more valuable the bigger properties will become that aren't being subdivided. So, there are quite a few people in the area who still do want the big home on the big block, even with the rear access. The recent plan for the inner west is a medium density area, and along a lot of the main streets like Henley Beach Road and along Port Road, there is going to be the opportunity to build multi-storey properties. Where we're standing now is a historic conservation area in Mile End, and you need to again check with council or your zoning as to what your policy area is, as to what you can do with the property.
I think it's obvious that both the state and federal governments see higher density living in these inner suburban areas. So whether people like it or not, subdivision is the future. I think there are both positives and negatives to that for people that are currently living in the area. Obviously, with more population, there's more people spending money in local businesses, and that kind of thing has a great multiplier effect for the whole community, I think. On the negative side, high density housing can potentially have an impact on surrounding property values. So look, if it is happening in your area, maybe it is worth getting an up-to-date market appraisal.